Hey everybody, welcome back to Terry's Tribe, the show where we talk all things books and literature. I am your host, Terry Wells Brown, the author of the series Women of Wine Country. T. Wells Brown is my pen name. And stay tuned because my next book is out at the end of this month and it is kicking my butt, ladies. So we're ready to get that out. If you want to join the digital release, we're going to have it in Terry's Tribe on Facebook. It's a group. Go join the tribe. October 15th is the smoking hot release party. So we'd love to have you join us. And I am thrilled today. I have a very special author who is a Renaissance man, a man of many talents, because he just informed me he just got done mowing 3 acres. Is that right? 3 acres?
Yeah, 3 acres at least.
Michael Deeze. Am I pronouncing that last name correctly? Michael Deeze?
Yes, ma'am.
Michael Deeze. And he is the author of a trilogy. Did you just have your 3rd book out?
The 3rd book, The Heretic, released in late July. Ooh. And so it's only been out about 5 weeks now.
Ooh, exciting.
And it is the 3rd.
The 3rd.
Hopefully, it is not the final. Yes.
So the first book is Forgive Me, Father. The second is For I Have Sinned. And now the 3rd one, The Heretic. Those are great titles.
The first one I'm going to correct a little bit. It's Bless Me, Father. And the second one is For I Have Sinned. If you are born or raised or know anything about Catholics, that's the first 2 things you say when you go to confession.
Oh, I got it. So is this kind of a, is it Dan Brown? Is this kind of a Dan Brown-esque Da Vinci Code type of a thriller?
No, and I'm nowhere near as good an author as Dan Brown.
Well, but, I don't know. I'm looking at your bio, and in 2018, you were named the hottest indie author of 2018.
Well, that was really a pleasant and nice surprise. I don't know why they thought I deserved it, but I was really glad to have it. So that was great.
I'm going to fix the title on your bio that I was sent so that I get it right. When we put everything in the notes on this video, I'll make sure I have the links and the correct titles. So it's Bless Me, Father, not Forgive Me, Father.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how long have you been writing?
About 4 years.
And when was your first book launched?
About 3 years ago. It took, the first one took me almost a year to write. The second one also took me almost a year to write. But the 3rd one, I started writing while writing the other 2.
Yeah, so you were writing it kind of as you were doing the other one. I'm sure that helped with your pacing as well.
Right, the protagonists in the book are all the same, and we follow a young fellow from the time that he's a boy to the time that he is an old man, and and his family, who are pretty antisocial and very loyal to each other, but not to anyone else. And so as you're writing it, there's glitches that need to be in the last book or things that need to be in the 2nd book, and so they really were written almost at the same time, but there was way too much for it to be 1 book and way too much for it to be 2, and hopefully plenty so that the 3 are all interesting.
Oh, they sound fascinating. I can't wait to dive into them. So these are thrillers, right?
Yes, I would say yes. Thrilling would be a good word for it. My daughter read them. My daughter was reading the 2nd one and told me that I needed to do something about it because she said it's a little too raw, and I was so emotional that I had to keep putting it down. And I said, well, I can't fix that. It's already published. And she said, well, make the third book nicer.
Oh, how old is your daughter?
19.
Okay, so she's used to young adult stuff, and you gave her a gritty novel, and it was her dad, so it was a lot for her.
Yes, it was. She's my tail ender, and so she's the person my go-to for any emotional content.
Well, raw is good though, and we're all feeling a little raw. We're a little rough around the edges right now in 2020. Thank you very much. So I think a raw novel is exactly what a lot of us could connect with, you know.
Well, I certainly hope so. Mostly I just felt that this was a story that needed to be told, and it was fun to take some personal perspective of my own and put it down on paper. And so,
So is this like a fictionalized autobiography almost?
in a way, yes. There's a reason for it, though, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
My dad was one of the greatest generation. He was a World War II veteran and a child of the Depression. And when we were growing up, we are Irish Catholics, so I have lots of siblings. And when we were growing up, we always asked him, well, what did you do in the war, Dad? Were you a hero? You know, did you fight your way through? And his response was always the same. It was always, if you have to talk about it, then you probably weren't there. And so we couldn't get word out of him about it until near the end of his life. He gave me his diary. And his diary he kept of every mission he flew as a tail gunner in a B-17 bomber over Italy and Germany. He flew 26 missions, and he documented each one. And they're just horrific. I mean, they're absolutely hair-raising, these, January 17th, 1944. Target was Salzburg, Austria. We lost the waist gunner and the navigator. Shot to pieces, came in with no landing gear. We go again tomorrow.
Wow, that's powerful.
So you see why he wouldn't talk about it. And you also kind of get a feeling for why he didn't make friends, because throughout the diary, absolutely everyone on his crew except him died.
Oh. So taking on new
And
people
so,
meant the potential of losing more people.
yes. And so he just didn't want to get close to anybody. And so he was one of those guys who, we always joked about it. He was just vaguely aware that there were short people running around in his house. And he didn't really, he was a great provider, but his father skills were a little bit rusty. And I then went to Vietnam myself and understood exactly what he lived through. I mean, we were both 19 years old when we went, and we came back as 20, 21-year-old young men who had aged decades in that time. And I started to realize I didn't go back to school to become a physician until I was in my mid-30s. I didn't marry until later in life, which is why I have a 19-year-old daughter. And my children don't have any idea about the life that I lived. And I started thinking about, well, I don't want it to be a diary at the end of my life. I'd kind of like them to know why I am kind of quirky. And so I started writing just little side stories about, this happened to me or that happened to me, so that maybe I could give it to them at some point and they'd understand. And in the meantime, a magazine editor, friend of mine, said, well, let me read a couple of them. And so she read them and she said, oh no, this has got to be a book. You've got to stretch this out. You've got to make it linear. And, you don't have to worry about making it interesting. Just write it down. So that's how it started.
Hang on just a second. I'm so sorry. Hold on once. Sorry about that. I had somebody visit my office. Anyway, I didn't mean to
Oh well,
interrupt
that
you.
happens. I'm.
I didn't interrupt you.
Oh
So,
no, that's fine. I think it was done.
so that's amazing. So I like the premise that your father left a diary and it kind of like opened a world up for you, and you didn't want to do that same thing to your children. And that's what spurred you on to write your own book. So these books are fictionalized biographies for you. So your character, is he based on you, or is he just a, a, a collaboration of many people in your life, or how did you come up with your main character?
I would like to say yes, a lot of it is me, but the character in the book is a lot more interesting than I am. And he's an anti-hero, certainly an anti-hero. And also a lot of the after permission from my siblings, a lot of my father's diary is incorporated into the second book.
Really?
So I took a lot of his entries and fictionalized them into narrative so that other people could have that experience too. And both of them come back from the war really pretty damaged. And the answer for the older fellow is he just steps into the traces, puts his head down, and works until he dies. The younger one comes back and to the world that didn't want to have anything to do with the war, didn't recognize it, and blame the soldiers themselves for the things that the government did. So he descends into a lot of depression and criminal ways.
Wow.
And so at any rate,
yeah.
He becomes a criminal, and he gets better and better at it until he gets in so deep that he can't get out. And his only way out is he has to call his father.
Oh. That's how you introduce the father and kind of the memories of the dad and incorporate your father's diary.
Right. And he has some skills that his son was not aware of.
Oh, that's cool. Oh my gosh. So I cannot wait to get this, and I want to get it for my guys too. I have a husband and 3 sons who are going to just love your books. So tell me, where could we find your books? Are they all on Amazon?
Amazon and Barnes and Noble, Goodreads and Smashwords, places like that. They so far the reviews are pretty good. I'm flattered.
That's fantastic. Now, I see that your pen name is Michael Deeze. Is there a reason that you have a little bit of a different name? Were you looking for some identity security, or is there a reason?
Sure. There's a great reason, I think. When I was getting ready to finish my first book, it was in the final edit. And my mother, bless her soul, was 90 and just so excited that I had a book coming out. And my middle initial is D, and my whole life, she always called me Michael D. And so it was Michael D's got a book coming out. Michael D's book is coming out soon. I can't wait to read Michael D's book. Well, she passed away just before the book came out in print. And so I went back and made an edit change. And so these are Michael Deeze books. And so the last name became Deeze as a way of just a kind of a send up for my mom.
Yeah, that is just beautiful. I just love that. So every single aspect of your book has some emotional entanglement, really.
Oh, I can get teared up just reading some of it.
Wow, I love that though. That's great. It's like you put your soul into these books. Now, do you have any plans of writing any further books, or was this it?
Well, that's a $64,000 question, I guess. Everybody that's read the books is like, "Oh, you can't let this go." What about this person? It's all about the family, and so obviously, from a character development standpoint, you can't do everybody, and so everybody wants to know, well, what happened with Grandma? What about Uncle Seamus? What about, you know? And you have to write some more, or you have to make it into a miniseries, or at least a movie. And I don't know. I didn't like Grandma all that much.
Well, you can do some fun things with grandma then.
Oh yeah.
Get a
Well,
little revenge.
she's quite the character in the books. She's quite the character.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. Well, I certainly hope that you do continue to write. I'm going to go buy all your books right now, and I'll probably read them and give them away as Christmas gifts because it's getting to be that time. So that would be great for the men in our lives to, or any of the women who are into, this kind of genre, to go purchase your books and give them away as Christmas gifts.
Well, that would be a great idea. I would encourage that highly.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 stars, would recommend.
Highly recommended. I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Michael, thank you so very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Sorry about the hiccups this morning. Like I said, I'm trying to get this last book, my 5th book done, and it's kind of taken a little bit out of me to get it done. I'm sure you can understand. I try to get a book out every 2 to 3 months. So for me, it's.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I don't have that kind of prolific ability.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good. I'm just going into my 2nd year of writing, and I was doing pretty good through the first year, and then 2020 has just knocked me off my game. So
I think that that would be true for just about everybody.
yeah, I know it is. And so I'm trying to not put too much pressure on myself, but the anxiety still comes.
Yeah, it's a little bit smoky out there where you are right now too, right?
Yeah, you know what? It just cleared up yesterday, and when I say clear, I mean that the smoke is now up in the sky instead of down around my house. So I'm outside, got my door to my office open, and we're actually going outside for the first time today.
I am 2,000 miles away from you, and the sky in the afternoon and night is so smoky that the sun is red, like a red stoplight.
Like a blood sun.
Blood sun, yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. My entire we have a kind of a outdoor living space because we're California, and it's covered in ash, and it's so hard because the ash are remnants of creatures and trees, and just
Yes.
it's hard.
Yes.
It's very
And
hard.
lives and memories. Those ashes are all memories.
Yep.
It is
So
heartbreaking.
it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
If you guys would just rake the forests, for God's sake, it wouldn't have happened,
Yeah, well, let me tell you, here in California, there's a lot of discussion about our forests and the management and not management and all of the things. So, but raking the forest is something that we all kind of joke about. I don't care where you're coming from. You gotta love those one-liners, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody will be out with our rakes.
Well.
You'll see all the Californians out with our rakes next year. That'll keep the wildfires down.
Now that'll be the new CCC thing.
Yeah. Luckily, though, our governor and 3 of the other governors here around the states that are also suffering have put into place some better forest management, because while the federal government maintains and owns half of our forests, at least in California, the other half of the forest is managed by CAL FIRE, and we have not been taking care of our forests the way that they should have been, not the federal level or the state level. So I'm not getting into any politics at all, but they need to be taken care of. So we have what is called unnaturally dense forests here. So we've just created fuel for the power lines and the people, you know, all of the things, all of the reasons that people, you know, forests catch on fire. But regardless, it's terrible. It's really terrible. I work directly with our fire district here, and we're part of the the emergency strike teams. So we always have teams out fighting any fire that's going on in California. So it's a crazy way of life, let me tell you.
Yeah, this is a terrible way to wake it up to the fact that we should have been doing more all along.
Yeah, I could not agree with that statement more. I could not agree with. There's so much we should be doing, but we're not. We're just using this world up, and we won't have anywhere to go pretty soon. So, but that's off topic. So I'm going to thank you so very much for coming on the show. And I want to encourage everybody to go grab a copy of all 3 books of Michael's. He is an amazing author. I cannot wait to read your books. I can't wait to buy them for my men and my family for Christmas. And I will put all of the links in this show notes for everybody who's interested. And is there any one last thing that you'd like to leave the viewers with, Michael?
Vote on November 3rd, no matter what.
Yeah. My grandfather used to tell me, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to gripe.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
well, in Chicago, as they say, vote early, vote often.
Well, that's Chicago for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate your time, and I hope that you stay safe, and I hope to see you soon. Let us know if you have another release. We'd love to have you back on.
That sounds great. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Till next
Bye.
time, stay safe, stay sane, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.